What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Anthony and only Anthony tonight.
It's just us,
All right.
like the original crew.
Right. And we are talking about House of the Dragon episode 7. This is the penultimate episode before the end of season 2. And we had a lot of activity in this one.
What an amazing episode.
Man, it was so good. Like,
The cool thing about this season, it's like every episode builds on the last one, and they
right,
just keep getting better and better.
right.
I have a lot to say about Oscar Tully.
Okay, you know what? Let's start there because let me tell you, is he in any way related to Lyanna Mormont? Because he is given the same energy, and I am loving it. It's not very often we see Daemon Targaryen humbled and put in his place. And the fact that he is done so by a what, 12-year-old child? He had me in stitches this whole episode.
Well, first, we need Daemon to get out of here, Hall. Let's start there.
We
It's
have
time.
been saying this for weeks now. So, yes.
He needs to get out of here, Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Oscar, I'm sorry, Lord Oscar.
Mm-hmm. So I saw somebody online say Big Ock. That's his name now. Big Ock.
he and I knew he was going to be in trouble for Daemon when he called him the prince consort.
Yeah.
And, oh, no, the queen consort.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then he said, "Yeah, we'll raise our banners for Queen Rhaenyra."
Right.
I knew he was going to be a problem. Daemon was not ready for that. I
No,
was not ready for that.
I was not. I was not. I
It,
was sitting there like when he came in, it was something about his energy, even when he came in, because Damon came in the same way he did the last time. And little dude was just like, okay, you know what? You talked to me like I was a scrub the last time I was here, but I have something you need right now. So if you're not gonna do anything else, you're gonna show me some respect. And when I say from start to finish, from when he was on screen, that little boy demanded some respect. I was very impressed.
I was too. He was. I don't even have the words. Like for example, when I can't remember which one of the River Lords was like, "Why should we follow you? You younger than my grandchildren." And then like 3 minutes later, he was like, "Yeah, yeah, what he said." That's how I felt. He was like, "Yeah, that's my boy. Yeah, I got his back."
Mm-hmm. Because he so he brings the River Lords with him. And there's all this back and forth dialogue because, again, the Blackwoods and the Brackens, they've been having some beef. And what was it, Lord? I'm gonna keep getting them mixed up. Lord Bracken or Lord Blackwood, I think, was the one who kind of went and did all the dastardly
Yeah,
deeds that Daemon could not do, which in turn, like, some of the Riverlands, they were like, oh no, something needs to be done about them because the stuff that they did was horrible, is not honorable. And that was one of the reasons why they didn't want to follow Daemon, because they knew that Daemon set him, up for that.
yeah,
When
and
he
I think
comes out and says that, and the dude is like, why should we follow you? I have sons older than you. And Oscar was like, look, I realize I'm a child. I realize I don't have the experience, but all I can do is lead by my grandfather's example and dot, 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 dot. Like he just started laying it out.
yeah, he's like
Oh,
The Riverland people are. We remember our oaths.
mm-hmm,
We follow our oaths.
right.
That's what holds it together. And I knew Daemon messed up when Daemon was like, well, I only asked them to do what was necessary. And Oscar's like, yeah, that may be so, but it didn't have to go that far.
Right.
And justice has to be served.
Mm-hmm. He was like, look, we'll raise our banners. We'll follow Queen Rhaenyra and her lowly representative. Like, that's the vibe he was giving.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, said it plain. Like Daemon Targaryen, and Daemon is just sitting there like, these people are mighty fucking bold because they all in this courtyard.
Well, he should have got the message um from Simon. Is it Simon?
Mm-hmm.
He should have got the message from him because he was always taking shots. Like, yes, Queen Consort, my prince. He just and they all do it, my prince, my prince.
Yeah, but Simon was a little more diplomatic because he would say it
He
and then he
was.
would, my king. And then in the last like one or two episodes, he's like just been straight saying my king, my king. But Damon has been a bit unpredictable. Damon's
Mhm.
having visions, he's having weird dreams, and Simon is like, okay, this man is going through some stuff in my house. Let me not antagonize him. These other folks, they didn't give not two fucks.
No, and especially Oscar. Oscar did not give a fuck. He's like, if you
None.
want us to follow you, hmm, you're gonna have to basically admit to what you ordered and serve the justice yourself.
Right. And he makes him execute Lord Blackwood. And Damon is, like I said, it's so weird to see him humbled because he probably could have fought and he probably could have killed all of them. And that would not have done him any justice. That
No.
wouldn't have done anything for him or his cause or Rhaenyra's cause, because at this point, we still don't know if he's trying to serve Rhaenyra. I think at this point, he realizes he's going to have to, because they've already made it clear, oh yeah, we'll join our banners. We'll follow Queen Rhaenyra
Mm-hmm.
and her representative. But make no mistake, we don't like this motherfucker. When I tell you, I hollered during those scenes. I was so tickled. I was just like, Damon is getting his ass handed to him by a 12-year-old child. And the memes have been ridiculous. They have been ridiculous. I have one. It says Oscar Big Balls of House Tully, the first of his name, Lord of the Brackens and Blackwoods, protector of the Riverlands, father of taking no shit, Lord of zero fucks given, house motto, get fucked. And I'm like, yep, that's exactly the energy. Like, he is giving me Lyanna Mormont vibes.
he
He's
he
gonna
ins-
be he's gonna be one that's gonna be tough to fuck with.
and he's gonna earn a lot of respect from the River Lords just based on this. Like you one dude, it's like you younger than my children. And then
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes later, yeah, uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he insulted Damon like 5 times in 30 seconds.
Was it just 5 times? I thought it might have been
He
more.
was like, we'll follow Rhaenyra even though her representative has lacked based on his comportment here. Comportment? The fuck?
I was like, what did he tell him inside the castle? He was like, you've made quite a mess of things.
Yeah, he did.
And Damon is sitting there looking like, he wants to strike. He's like, I
But he
need this
can't.
little kid. I need this little kid. And he had no idea what he was walking into.
Yeah, he thought he would just roll him over. He severely underestimated. This kid has probably had a lot of time to think about, especially after their first meeting, think about
Mm-hmm.
how he was going to handle this situation.
Right.
And I wouldn't doubt that maybe his grandfather had, because he had moments of lucidity,
Yep.
that he may have talked to him one of those times and he was like, this is what you're going to have to do.
Right. And also, his grandfather probably also, before he got sick, if this is your heir, he probably did what he was supposed to do and say, okay, look, this is how things need to be done. This is what we stand for. This is what we do. This is how we settle this agreement. Like, he probably taught him, let's say more than Viserys taught Rhaenyra about what to do, and when I say that little boy, what is it they say these days? He was standing on business. Like, no fear in his face, no fear in his voice. He was like, okay, this is what I got to do. All right, let's do this.
What was it they said last week? Like, the Tullys, they're not the largest house. They're not the richest house.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone has sworn their fealty to them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he's showing. He's like, this is why you guys follow the Tullys.
Mm-hmm.
They're just, they're fair,
Right.
and they're measured, and
Mm-hmm.
they do what they're supposed to do.
They do what they're
Like,
supposed to
they
do.
all hotheads. They ready to go off, right? They're
Right.
ready to go off. He's like, no, we're gonna take a step back, and this is how
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna handle the situation.
But
No matter
before we do that,
no matter how loathsome I find the Queen's representative.
right, he was like, but before we do all of that, Daemon, I need you to come over here and take care of your boy, because he did these things in your name. And yeah, we're not about to move forward like this. And Lord Blackwood, he was like, Your Grace, I did what you told me to do. You can't kill me. Daemon sure did swing that sword.
What was Corliss's brother? The king,
Daemon.
king, yeah, King Viserys said, anyone speak out against my daughter would lose their tongue. He
Daemon was
said the
like,
words.
he didn't keep his tongue, took his head.
It took his head. And Daemon didn't hesitate. He just walked over.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know who you're fucking with.
At least this one he did hesitate, because he was like, okay, I did give this dude my word that if he went and did this, he would be elevated. But what you gonna do? This child needs the army that you need. And let's be honest, if Lord Blackwood can be swayed to do the things that you told him to do, that might not be someone you want to trust.
No.
Because as soon as the tide shifts, he might decide, okay, you know what? He might have turned team green. He could have.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm telling you, Daemon did not look happy with what he had to do. And then, of course, after that, he walks into the castle. He walks into his bedroom, and he has a vision of Viserys. And it's not the young Viserys that he betrayed early on. No, this is the old Viserys. This is the Viserys that is completely unmasked. So you get to see, because I don't think last season, I don't think Daemon ever saw him fully without his face mask off. Maybe at the dinner.
At the dinner, I think he took it off.
He took it off, but still, Daemon is down here on this side of the table. When he looks, you're only going to see this vantage point. So you don't see the hollowed out cheek over here. You don't see just how bad it is. So he gets a full vision of his brother. And Viserys is telling him, he was like, look, I don't, and he's holding his crown. He says, I didn't want it, but I tried to do the best I could with it. He was like, this crown takes from the person who's wearing it.
He says it's a heavy burden.
It's a heavy burden. And then he asked Daemon, he was like, do you still want it? But you see it at that point, Daemon is kind of like, oh no, is all of this worth it?
Right.
Is all of this worth it? And I think he's slowly maybe starting to see, okay, you know what? This is not what I want. Or at least not. He wants the prize. He doesn't want the price he has to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably thinking at this point, maybe Rhaenyra should have it. Now, whether he's saying that because he's like, I don't want to go through this, so I'm just going to let her go through it, or if he feels she's more deserving, because again, Daemon has had a lot of time in Harrenhal to think about his past actions.
Way too much time. This is like all those movies where people going through the woods and camping.
I was just about to say, is Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, and Hermione Granger walking through the woods? That is our That's your and my reference for when things are taking too long. Like, I understand the exposition. I understand we needed to get into Daemon's headspace. Sorry, you can't get into my camera, Apollo.
But up until this scene, up until this point,
Mm-hmm.
the tone and the pacing of Harrenhal did not match the rest of the show. And like we talked about before, I understand that you have to give Daemon something to do,
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise there wouldn't be anything for him to do there.
Right.
They it's almost as if they sent him off too early, but then maybe they sent him off at the right time, but then they had to come up with something that would take time.
Yeah.
Still trying to figure out when is the dude that Rhaenyra sent gonna show up. Like,
Right. But
he's
I
still,
mean, it's a 2 week journey. So all of this is happening fairly quickly. I'm For those of
it
y'all
doesn't
watching,
feel
I'm
that
so
way.
sorry about my camera. My kitten has gotten behind the laptop, and I don't know what he is doing, but you're messing up my vibe, Apollo. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Anthony.
No, it's like, yeah, it's a 2 weeks journey.
Mm-hmm.
However, it seems like he's been there for like 3-4 months.
It feels like it. It
You
really
know,
does.
it really feels
But
like it.
you know what? I can't say that that's the case, because I think if he was there that long, Daemon would have lost his mind by now, because obviously the ghost of Harrenhal or the ghost of Harren the Black, whoever it is, they've been fucking with his mind.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think if he was there, if this was months, Daemon
He,
would have lost it by then. He would have been probably similar to what the Mad King was at this point.
yeah, and no Alice Rivers. Interesting enough.
In this episode, yeah, like Oscar Tully came back, but she's still gone. What is she
Interesting.
doing? But yeah, Oscar Tully, he's
10 out of
like
10, my new favorite character. But you're right,
absolute.
he's with that Lyanna Mormont. He's
Yes,
right there.
because he really has that vibe of, okay, so yes, I'm young, but y'all gonna learn to put some respect on my name, and y'all are gonna do what I tell you to do, because I'm the one that's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
He established it very quickly. Like, if any of the other lords were thinking about, going betraying him and maybe trying to, he put that to bed real quick.
Yeah. And Daemon thought he was doing something. Lord Oscar is your liege lord. You must follow whatever he wants. And Oscar, I think they know that.
But he was also like, oh, thank you. Okay, so with that being said, let it be known that I do not like the prince consort. Let it be, or the queen consort. Let it be known that I don't like the bullshit that you did on his orders. So this is what we're about to do. He got his house in order. He
Mm-hmm.
got his house in order. He was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. My grandfather swore to King Viserys that he
And
will
he's going
honor
there. Mm-hmm.
Rhaenyra as queen. We keep our oaths. We will do the same. However, you over here, you got to be punished for the stuff that you did. And you know what? Daemon, you want to say that you're contrite, that you may have been a little, what did he say? I may have been a little over
Over
enthusiastic.
enthusiastic. Yeah.
So now you
You know
want
what?
to,
It's akin to your mama telling you to go pick your own switch.
right? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think Damon must have felt so small.
Yes.
That which is what led to that vision. He felt so small.
But Daemon has needed some humbling.
Yeah.
And Oscar Tully gave it to him. And I'm curious to see. I'm just curious to see what this dude is about to be about. But yeah, so right from the start, Oscar Tully, gotta give my man his props. He about to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
He about to be a problem. But he has the power of the Riverlands behind him, which is going to be a good thing for Rhaenyra. So, like, yeah,
Yeah,
Daemon may
because
not have done what he needed to do, but the Riverlands, they came through. They're like, okay, you know what? Rhaenyra, we got you. But we got to
so
put this motherfucker in place first.
so now that she has the North, she has the Riverlands,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever Beesbury is doing, the Beesberries are
These bears are bringing the heat.
yeah. And the thing is, I think I remember reading in, I can't remember if it was in the first series of books,
Mm-hmm.
that the Reach has always sort of, they're sort of like the Crown Lands. They've always sort of been, in bed with the Targaryens.
Uh-huh.
They've always been pretty much Targaryens, because I think when Aegon first came over, the Conqueror,
Mm-hmm.
those are the first people he conquered. Those are the first people that he quote unquote turned to his side.
Gotcha.
And they've been with the Targaryens ever since. So it makes sense
Mm-hmm.
that all the stuff that's going on down there, especially after Lord Beesbury being
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
needlessly murdered, it makes sense.
Damn
And
crispy coal.
yeah, and like we learned later, they're giving the Old Town folks hell, the High Towers. They are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But
it's gonna be interesting.
you gotta kind of wonder how long that will last, because we find out in this episode that Prince Daemon, who is the as yet unseen third child of Alicent and Viserys, his dragon has taken wing, which means his dragon is in the air.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, House Beesbury may not have that advantage for long, unless, I mean, again, we don't know anything about Daemon except for the fact that his uncle says he's kind, and we learn about his good attributes. Now, it's possible Prince Daemon may look at all of this and say, all of y'all stupid. Why are we going to war? He may decide to refrain. I don't remember much about him from the book because I don't think I've gotten that far. I just know that he was involved in some of the campaigns, but yeah, he could easily decide, I don't want to have any part of this. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Look, I already heard what y'all did to my oldest brother and his dragon.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a part of this. But he may also have no choice given what side of the family he was born on.
Yeah. I think he's going to be the complete opposite of Aemon.
Oh, absolutely.
I
He
think he, I
has to
think
be.
I think he's going to be completely opposite of Aemon.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. To see those two dynamics come together, like, because they haven't grown up with each other. They probably, I don't even know if they've seen each other since Daemon went to Old Town.
Yeah.
So Aemon won't really have any, he will have some loyalty to him based on the fact that they are full siblings. They are Targaryens. But if Daemon proves or seems to be opposed to what Aemon is doing, yeah, Aemon might be like, yeah, no, I don't need this. I don't know, but I mean, Daemon has a dragon. They are in need of dragons on Team Green because Team Black held the Dragon Rider job fair, and they
Okay.
have key.
Before we get there, let's
Mm-hmm.
go back to Seasmoke's recruit, because Seasmoke recruited.
Right. In the last episode, Seasmoke chose his rider, and that's how the episode starts off. You have Rhaenyra and you have Adam, which I have to say this. In the last episode, we kept transposing the names. We were
We
calling
did, yeah.
Alan Adam and Adam
Adam
Allen.
Allen.
So, okay, let's get it right. He chose Adam, And Rhaenyra and Adam are there on the beach, and they're squaring off. The dragons are squaring off, but nobody's taking action, which I think is a good thing, because had it been Daemon, or had it been maybe Aemon, and you have this rider on a Targaryen dragon, they probably would have acted first and asked questions later.
Mm-hmm.
But Rhaenyra, in her wisdom, she's like, okay, let me see what the situation is, because, dude, you got one of my dragons. What the fuck? And Adam is like, look, I had no designs upon it. He chose me.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, well, what do you want? He said, to learn the ways of a dragon rider and to serve my queen. And he immediately takes the knee.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when she finally walks up on him, because as she's walking up, as he's walking up, their dragons are walking like, okay, we about to have some trouble. We about to have some problems.
Hey, the memes for them two have been crazy. I saw one where they were like, it was Cyrax was like, "What's your name?" He's like, "Tyrone." "What's your name?" He's like, "What you want?" And they
Right.
just going back and forth.
I saw
like,
another one that was like, Cyrax was like, "Sis." The meat, let me tell you, the meat game for House of the Dragon is like top notch.
yeah, it's been pretty
Top
good.
notch. But when they finally come face to face, she tells him to stand, and they're talking. She's looking at him. You know, she's sitting here looking at him like, She said, what is your parentage? And he was like, my mother was a shipwright. My father is of no consequence. You know, she looking at that face. She was like, I think I know who this is.
She gonna put two and two together.
She can't, I mean, you can't help it, because even like when it comes to casting, the casting department got this right, because if you look at the three of them together, they really look like they could be related.
Yeah.
And you can see it. She's kind of like searching in his face, like, why does this seem familiar? Oh, wait a minute. She was like, do you have family in your Targaryen blood in your family? He was like, my family is not the one to keep animals. We don't know. He said, but I have been a service of House Velaryon. He was like, I don't know anything about, he said, I may not be low born, or I may not be high born, but I know what it is to be in service. So she was like, okay, you did something I thought was impossible. She was like, can you get him to Dragonstone? He was like, I can try. Seasmoke like, dude, I got you. I got you. Let's go home.
So, I don't know if it was you or someone else asked. This is a sidebar, guys. So, when we were talking about it, the Velaryon, there were three families that are still left there: the Celtigars, the Targaryens, and the Velaryons. And the Velaryons and Celtigars were not dragon lords.
Okay.
They were still noble families, but they were sort of on the low spectrum of nobles, but they weren't dragon riders. But apparently, when the Targaryens came to Dragonstone and they started making alliances with the Celtigars and the Velaryons, because they were Valyrian, they started intermarrying.
Okay.
So maybe it is his mother, because as we saw the March of the Bastards, there were POCs, with one lady who had the patches of silver hair in her head.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably, it could be Corlys, it could be his mother, it could be a combination of them both.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
because Corlys Corlys could have the same amount of Targaryen in his blood as Sir Stephen Darkling.
Yeah. And you cannot deny that they have to have some, because look at their freaking hair.
Yeah.
I mean, the Targaryen genes are pretty strong. I know they changed their race for the show, but they at least kept that.
Yeah.
That much.
Yeah. So, and okay. So when Adam gets to Dragonstone, of course, the small council have gathered, and they're talking about these events. And Jason's like, okay, so where's the queen? Oh, the queen says she's not joining us today. Well, where's this person who has the dragon? The queen has commanded that we put him up as a guest. Jace is sitting there looking like, what? He's so confused and he's so angry in this episode. And I'm like, but boo, this is what you suggested. It just wasn't in the way that you wanted, because you wanted noble people to be able to claim a dragon. And the dragons very quickly, I think the one thing with Seasmoke that it's very obvious, and also with the other two dragons later on in the episode, the dragons are literally telling you it's not about them being highborn or lowborn. It's about who is worthy to sit upon our backs. You know, and again, with all three of these people who have been chosen in this episode, the dragons chose them. And the dragons chose them either because they were humble or because they were courageous. They showed no fear.
It may not be as deep as that, because I know we're skipping ahead, but if you look at other than Adam, Ulf and Hugh are Jacaerys' grandsons. You know, it just take the and the dragon.
Actually, no, Hugh is the grandson, but Ulf is his bastard son, because he said that he Daemon and Viserys were his half brothers.
So they are inextricably with Jacaerys. Like they have that blood in them. So it's like what the dragon handler said. The dragons are the last of old Valyrian magic. And the one thing we do learn later is when the dragons return, magic starts to return to the world.
Yeah.
And I think there is an element, even though George R. R. Martin doesn't blatantly outright say it, and even Tyrion alluded to this, that the dragons are much smarter than people think they are.
Yeah.
And if you throw the magic in there with it, they're not stupid, you know, and they have another sense. So yeah, maybe part of it is, you know, being able to stand up to them, you know, especially if they didn't hatch with you, like if they weren't hatchlings.
Right.
So, I don't, and that's probably what Rhaenyra's issue is. Is it Rhaenyra? God, what is her name?
Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra. That's what her issue is. She's so freaking scared.
Yeah.
You know, when she goes to try to get a dragon. But now you see her taking agency, like she's determined to find out who this dragon is. And I think that's going to make the difference for her.
Yeah, I think so too, because it's and that's
so I'm not saying you're wrong. I think that's also a part of it. I think the person's emotions and feelings are a part of it, but it also helps if they have the blood of the dragon lords in them as well.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing, because I agree with that, but with the rest of the bastards that we saw, we don't know what part of Targaryen they were, because you can't tell me Jacaerys only had one bastard. You know what I'm saying? And
or his sons,
right?
Because what did Mysaria say? She said, I know of 4 score, like off the top of my head. That's
a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's just off the top of her head. That's not the ones that she don't know about.
Right. And that's not necessarily current generation, because obviously Ulf was in the city, Hugh was in the city, so there could have been more of Jacaerys's bastards, or as we find out later with Hugh's mother, I mean, she had 3 sons. If you're looking at the history and what we know about Hugh's mother based on the information that he gave, if you go back and look through the Targaryen history, his mother had 3 bastard sons. We don't know where they are in the city. They might be in the city, they might not. But we'll get to that later, because I do have some other stuff to say about that whole.
I wonder if Jacaerys had any siblings. Like
I don't remember.
Right.
I didn't look it up. But we know he had 9 children. So
There
you
you
know
go.
those 9 children probably got bastards running around that city, especially if most of them were boys.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Again, Mysaria said, I know of at least four
for
score.
score, right,
No, at
right.
least four score.
And again, here go Mysaria coming up with the win. Like, oh, okay, so it didn't work with Stefan Darkling, but you got some other kid in this city that's closer to you in blood.
Yeah.
They may
And
not be highborn, but it may work.
what did she say? I think it's sort of like you're gonna have to turn over a few stones
Mm-hmm.
and rattle a few cages and crates to find what you need.
Yeah.
So
And I'm still tripping that she is able to do all of this and nobody on the Greens Council is aware of what's going on.
because that's not their concern. They're too busy with their own machinations to be really paying
Mm-hmm.
attention.
Yep.
And oh, since
And it's
we
gonna bite them in the ass.
and while we on this,
Mm-hmm.
Larys, little slide motherfucker. His
He
dude is
did
like,
that shit on purpose.
yeah, he's like, so don't you want this information? Because the other guy trying to get Lord, what is he, Iron something.
I don't
His head,
remember.
but he's like, yeah. We heard that the Seasmoke has a rider.
Mm-hmm.
Harris is like, you know what? Let's just leave it to the wind. You don't have to say anything.
Right. Right. Like, really? That's what we're gonna do? Oh,
That's what we gonna
you just don't want to tell Aemon. Okay, okay.
do. Yeah.
You just want to see you want to see what's about to happen.
Yeah. Basically.
He's that meme of Michael Jackson in Thriller with the popcorn. Like,
Popcorn.
ooh, we about to see what this.
Either that or he doesn't want to do Eamon any favors.
That's exactly what I mean. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
looking like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And
Let's let them have that little dragon thing because Aemon right now thinks that he is invincible because he has the largest
Vagar.
dragon in the realm.
Yeah.
So okay, Larys is sitting there mathing, and he's like, okay, so Rhaenyra has a dragon, Daemon has a dragon, her son has a dragon. Now Seasmoke has a rider. That's 4 dragons to our one.
Baylor
That's
has a
active.
dragon.
Oh,
Bay-
excuse me. Yes, Bailey has a dragon.
Baylor has 5.
That's 5. So right now we have Vagar and we have Dreamfire, who nobody's even seen Dreamfire because Helena ain't trying to get on the dragon, which may end up changing in the next episode based on the promo.
I
But
I don't think that's a good idea to put her on a dragon because she might take her child and go away and not ever come back.
I don't know. I think if she were to get on Dreamfire with the dragons being bonded to their riders, Helena has a lot of chaos going on in her mind. She's lost her son. Her husband is not in the best of conditions right now. She's been attacked twice, leaving the castle. She got a lot of chaos going on in her mind, and chaos. If her dragon is acting based on her emotions, oh, that's not a good idea at all.
That's not good for anybody because
It's
she might
not.
turn on Vagar. I
Not
mean,
even Vanguard. She might turn on the small folk. The small folk are the ones who are attacking Helena.
yeah,
And
they,
if
they,
Helena has that fear in her, yeah, that not a good idea.
not a good idea. No matter
No.
what, it is not a good idea to put Helena on Dream.
Mm-mm.
And Dreamfire is one of the larger ones,
Yes.
and that is scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the advantage that the Greens have. The dragons that they have are the larger dragons.
Just
But
so because Tesseron is smaller than Jace's dragon,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
so it's really just those two.
Okay. But we see even with Vagar can be hurt. Vagar can get seriously hurt. Maelys did some damage, and she was just one.
Yeah,
So he has more.
I watched a breakdown of what she was trying to do
Mm-hmm.
with Raina,
Rhaenys.
what Renice was trying to do,
Mm-hmm.
and if there was one other dragon there,
Yep. They
Vagar
could have taken Vagar down.
Vagar would have been dead.
Mm-hmm.
because she strapped herself. Because I couldn't. Why did she strap herself in? Because she knew she was going upside down.
Mm-hmm.
She was going to attack him from the bottom, so she couldn't get burned
Yep.
and rip at his underside.
Mm-hmm.
And threw him off balance and crashed him to the ground.
Yeah, I mean, she got some good licks in.
Yes, had there been one other dragon there, Vhagar would be dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what Daemon was trying to say earlier. We can take
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
between the
Yeah.
two of them. They could and it's still not outside the realm of possibility.
Oh
They
no. And now we got 4. I'm saying we like I'm on
five,
like oh excuse me 5. I'm saying
five.
we like I'm on team, but we got 5 on our side.
And the advantage of being small, they're faster.
Mm-hmm.
You, I know we're skipping ahead, but you saw how long it took Vhagar to turn when Aemon said, "Flee, flee, flee! You don't want that smoke, bruh."
Look, Vhagar looked and he was like, okay, this is not like the other situation. Let me turn my ass around. Like, yeah, I bet you listened to your rider then, didn't you?
Yeah, he did.
But yeah, we'll come back
We'll
to
get to
that.
that.
But the fact that they are able to get word to the city about finding Targaryen bastards, again, like I said, it's just so interesting. And you know what? It could also be Larys because you know Larys has to know what's going on. You know those boats of food just didn't pop up.
No,
And
he
the
knows
fact,
what's happening.
huh?
He knows what's happening.
Yeah, yeah. But before we talk about that, so when Adam is in the castle, Lord Corlys goes to his rooms to see who is this dragon rider, and lo and behold, it's your own son. Now, of course, he doesn't say anything to Adam, about that. He just kind of, you know, When Adam sees him, he's like, "My lord." He was like, "My lord." He was like, "You are so suddenly elevated." He was like, "Oh, okay. I see what you're doing here." And Adam basically tells him, he was like, "Yeah, so I was gonna go back to the docks to basically put in his resignation." And when he says that, he was like, "Okay, yeah, I get it. You have a higher purpose." And then he turns to him and he says, "Job well done." And he walks off. And Adam is looking like, "Oh my God, he finally sees me." And I was looking at the episode Insider, and it's where Corlys, Steve Toussaint was saying, for Corlys, he's looking at Adam like he knows this is his child, right? And he's looking at him like, oh, this man just elevated himself up on his own, the same way Corlys did. Because remember, Corlys came from a poor background and raised himself up to be master of ties and to have the prestige and position that he has. So now he sees the same in this child he has never expressed an interest in. And he feels a sort of pride. And I was like, how you don't feel pride in something you had no part in? And I understand that him giving them jobs in his, with his crew and everything, I know that in a sense that was his way of taking care of them without disgracing Rhaenys and without disgracing his quote unquote legitimate children. But still, it's like one of the memes I saw today, and it was like, Corlys is the type of daddy who doesn't do anything while you're in your childhood and then shows up at the graduation all proud. And I was like, that's exactly the vibe it was given. Like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he goes to talk to Alan later on, he tells Alan, he was like, yeah, so we have a new dragon rider. And Alan is like, yeah, I've heard tell of it. He was like, it was your brother. And Alan is looking like, the fuck you mean is my brother? What? And then Corlys makes this just the way he approaches it to me. I realized it wasn't supposed to be cold, but it came across that way for me because of the situation. And he looks at Alan and he's talking to him. And he was like, He was like, it could be the blood. I never really knew much about your mother's background, but it's possible she has some Targaryen in her. And even Alan is like, the fuck you talking to me about my mother? Like, this has to be the first type of exchange that they have
Mm-hmm.
had where Corlys has actually said, but without directly saying it, oh yeah, I'm your father.
Mm-hmm.
What? He was like, yeah, so it could be in the blood. And Alan is very quickly, he was like, look, my brother has always had designs on something higher. I am of salt and sea. I'm not going nowhere. That's basically what he said. And
He
Corlys
like
tried
you.
to look
You can
at him.
stop looking for. Yeah, you ain't gonna find no dragon riders here. Keep on, keep
Right.
on.
But not only that, the fact that he was like, I am of salt and sea. What did Baylor tell you? You need to find an heir to Driftmark that's of salt and sea. You
Mhm.
have him right here.
He was right there.
Right. You have several decades of absentee fatherism that you need to make up for real quick.
Mm-hmm.
But Alan's face when Corlys came up to him and started talking about his mama, he was looking at him like, "What the fuck is this? Like, is this a trap? What's going on?" And he tries so hard, like he shows Corlys the proper amount of respect and deference, but at the same time, you also see he don't want to look at this man. He don't really
Yeah.
want to be in this man's presence. But
I
also,
saw.
I think that's because if you again, if you stand the two of them together, people gonna look like, hmm.
Yeah, I saw a meme where this dude was like, sometimes I have to remind my wife that her face has subtitles, and that's sometimes how I feel about Alan.
Right,
His
right.
face has
His
subtitles.
his face is very expressive. You know what he's thinking. But
Yeah.
again, the meme game is strong with House of the Dragon. Someone had a picture of Adam with Seasmoke, and they were like, how is a road dragon gonna claim you before your daddy do?
Right.
The meme game is strong.
So speaking of the Dragon Riders, Rhaenyra. Well, let's put a pin in Jacaerys because I want to go back to Jacaerys.
Okay.
Okay, so Mysaria convinces her to put a call out to those fourscore
Mm-hmm.
Targaryen bastards and all the other ones. And you're right. How do they not know that all these people are going down to the Blackwater Bay? Why are you not
That's
watching
a lot of
Blackwater?
silver-haired people walking in like
Yeah, but all the ships too.
like
Like,
are y'all really not paying attention to Blackwater Bay?
yeah, yeah. Like
Like,
you do
isn't that
know
where the
that.
food came from?
Yeah, like you should have got the hint the first time. So sometimes it makes me wonder if not everybody. I think we're pretty much not everybody is on board
Yeah.
with what's going on with Aemon
Obviously, because the way
because
Alinda was able to get the message was because Mysaria went to Alan and she was like, okay, she what did she tell Rhaenyra? She was like, I have ways to get the message where it needs to go. I have people that I can trust. So she gives the message to Alan and says, make sure it gets to her directly. Alan gives it to one of his ship people. That ship person gives it to someone in Blackwater Bay at the gates. And it's just basically this line. And yeah, you're right. Because if people know that's coming from Rhaenyra, if you're loyal to the Greens, that message would have never gotten to Alinda. That
right.
message went straight to Alinda, like literally. Mysaria knows her people. She
Yeah,
still has her network.
yeah. And when Alinda got the message, she used the network to get the word out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to figure out how all these people were able to go down to Blackwater Bay and get on ships.
I don't know.
So they're honestly, they might be lucky that Rhaenyra doesn't have a ground force at her immediate disposal because
She
they
doesn't
already
need
have,
one.
well, they already have a fleet,
Mm-hmm.
right? They have a
Mm-hmm.
fleet of ships.
Yep.
They could land an army
On Blackwater Bay, and they
Blackwater Bay. And what is Vagar gonna do? You gonna burn down King's Landing? Oh wait, it's not like that doesn't happen later, but I'm
Right,
just
right. But I mean, I was sitting there because automatically, Hugh is gonna go. Ulf is gonna go. They haven't been showing us these two people and have us following these two
mhm.
people for no reason. Like this is the perfect opportunity, even though at the time when Ulf finds out, oh, you know what, Rhaenyra is looking for Targaryen bastards to try to be a dragon rider. He was like, so yeah, I have this lame leg. I can't do it. And like he's scared at this point because
Yeah.
as
He's
much as
like,
he's been
oh,
saying that he was that he's what Balon's son or
yeah, one of them.
yeah, he was like I really can't say that I am. And his friend, look, leave it to the black dude. The black dude is like, yo, so you mean to tell me you've been drinking for free from all these people because you've been trading on the Targaryen name? So you trying to say, and he was like, hold up. Like, okay, I'll go. He was like, dude, if you don't take this opportunity, we are never letting you live this down.
Right. They were hyping his ass up.
They were
He
hyping
had
him up.
no choice but to go. They hyped
No,
him up.
because other
But
than
he
that,
was
he was
funny.
gonna have to leave because people literally would have been like, "Oh, that's that liar off." Like
Right.
off commands a little bit of respect. We saw that the first time we met him. Like he comes into the pub, he's the big man on campus. Everybody is talking to him. Everybody is like, he's the popular dude. And
Mhm.
it's all because people know who he is without saying out loud who he is. So for you to sit here and be like, oh no, I'm not gonna try to claim a dragon, dude, what?
Right.
What?
He's like,
A
no,
dragon?
I don't know if the story is actually verifiable. Like, what?
Look, that drag if that dragon
They know
claim
you
you,
lying. Yeah, they if they didn't know you was lying before, they know you lying now.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's what does Michelle say? Look at your freaking hair, dude. All y'all walking around like y'all some Targaryens.
Right,
Everybody looking at y'all. Ain't but one family got hair like that.
right. But also I did notice with the other bastards, there was a mix in there. They did have a brown haired
They did.
bastard in there too. So I was like, okay,
There were a few.
yeah.
There were a
But
few.
we'll come back to that part because there's some other stuff with that. But going back to Hugh, of course, hears this and he's immediately like, I have to try. I have to take this chance. And his wife is like, I don't want you to go. We can go stay with my brother. And Hugh is like, I have to try. He was like, because we lost our daughter. So obviously their daughter who was sick passed. He was like, I haven't been able to do anything. I have to do something. I have to have some worth. And
Mm-hmm.
then he starts talking about his mother, which he tells his wife, he was like, I didn't know my father is true, but I knew my mother and I kept that information from you. So he talks about how his mother used to own a pleasure house and how he was ashamed of her, but he says that she had leave to come and go as she wished because of the color of her hair, and people would pay more for her services because people wanted to fuck someone with silver hair. I was like, oh, so his mother was a Targaryen. So then, of
Mm-hmm.
course, I have to be nosy because I'm like, y'all didn't give me enough information in this episode. Let me go see who Hugh the Hammer's mother is. Now, in the books, they never specifically say who his mother is, but they do have enough information about Sarah. I think that's her name, Sarah Targaryen, to kind of put two and two together that that's what the show is saying, that this is who his parent is. So she was the ninth and youngest child of Jacaerys and Queen Alicent, which means she is Viserys and Daemon's sister. And we figured that out because he does say something about my mother always said that I was no different from her brother's boys, Viserys and Daemon. So he very specifically makes it that, okay, this is who my mother is. Now Sarah, according to Fire and Blood and the lore, she was a wild child. She was very sexually promiscuous. She was very rebellious. And she and her father never got along because of that. So she actually left the castle, went to, I think, Lys. She worked in a pleasure house there, and then she ended up owning her own pleasure house. Now, because of all of this, Jacaerys disowned her because he basically was like, I'm not about to have my daughter be a whore. But she had three bastards, Hugh and whoever his two brothers are. We don't learn that information. But yeah,
That's in the book.
mm-hmm, I think
Okay.
so. Yeah.
But because she said that Jacaerys, she said that Viserys and Daemon were her brothers.
Mm-hmm. No, she not I'm sorry, Balon was her brother. Jaharis was her dad. Because she
Okay.
yeah,
Because in the
because
show, he,
she says to him, you are of no less worth than my brother's boys, Daemon and Viserys. And
okay,
They are Balon's children, correct? Jaharis was the
yeah,
grandfather. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So yeah, he's Jacaerys is his grandfather.
yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm. And that means that Viserys and Daemon are his cousins.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's
yeah. So he really has
second
like
Targaryen.
very close blood with the Targaryens.
Yeah.
Like his grandfather was Vermithor's Mount,
Mm-hmm.
was his rider. Now, let's talk about these bastards because like we said, Rhaenyra puts out, she sends word that she's looking for Targaryen bastards to ride to try to claim the dragons. Now, Jace is obviously upset about it because as he says, if we're Targaryens, we're fire and blood, we're the we're blood of the dragon. If anybody can just come claim a dragon, then what are we?
Mm-hmm.
But the bigger issue for him is, and he brings this up very plainly, he was like, so if there are other Targaryen bastards who can claim dragons, what does that do for me and my inheritance? He was like, come on, look at me. I'm obviously not a Targaryen, or I'm not a Velaryon. I'm a strong. He was like, did you think I would look like him when you took him into your bed? Did you
Did
think
you
this was going
think
to
I
be the
was
result?
like? Did you think I was gonna have silver hair?
Right. And I mean, it could have been, but the strong genes are strong. they won out. But for Jacaerys, he's basically telling her, I have the claim to the throne, yes, because I can ride a dragon. But if I couldn't claim a dragon, what would all this be for? Because any of these Targaryen bastards could come and be like, oh, well, he's not a Targaryen. We can steal his inheritance, or it's ours by right, especially if any of those bastards were, let's say, Viserys's. So,
Foreshadowing much?
right. But I mean, I understand his being upset, and she does too. But she does say, you know, I have to go with what I think is right. The gods put this on my shoulders, and I have to do what's best for the realm. And Jace is upset, assuredly so, and rightly so. But you got to find some riders for these dragons. And obviously, y'all can't claim two dragons. So you're going to have to kind of go out in the weeds. Now, the thing that got me about Jace, when he realized who she was asking, he was like, he called them mongrels. I said, hold up, boy. You're one of my favorite characters right now, but you're really tiptoeing right now. Like, I need you to be humble and realize you have no right, especially with the conversation you just had with your mother. You have no right calling any Targaryen bastards mongrels.
I understand why he feels the way he does.
I do too.
Like she needs to tell him, dude, you need to look at the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
Like what we are seeing is like what you said earlier. the dragons don't care if you're highborn or lowborn.
Mm-hmm.
You have the blood of a dragon lord in you. And that's all that matters to the dragons.
Right.
They don't care if you're a bastard. I mean, technically, he's a bastard.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
you know,
Like, you
and
have the nerve to call someone mongrels just because they're lowborn. Like, dude, that could have easily been you.
right.
You could actually be dead right now because technically speaking, what Rhaenyra did was treason.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that he's scared that that's going to come up again, especially since Viserys is not around to say, "Don't ask no more questions. I'll tell you no more lies." But I mean, dude, you just gotta let the magic work. Now,
Yeah.
this is the thing about the way that they did this. You have dozens of Targaryen bastards in the castle right now. And even the dragon keepers, they're like, this is not how we do things. You bringing these lowborn people in here for dragons. The dragons are gods. We are not going to have anything to do with any of this. And
And so
all of
they're
the dragon keepers left.
the last of the old Valerian magic.
Right. But you got a whole room full of Valerian magic right there. Like some of them look more Targaryen than others. You know what I'm saying? You have all of these people, and when Rhaenyra is sitting there talking to them about what they're trying to do, I was sitting here like, there has to be an easier way to do this, because what does she do? She leads them all into the cave. She calls Vermithor, which that image of Vermithor right behind her when she kind of tames him and she turns around like, okay, I think she put it in her mind like when Vermithor actually calmed down enough to let her touch him and she closed her eyes. I don't know if that's how Targaryens communicate with their dragons, but I have a feeling she told him specifically what she needed him to do. I need you to find a writer and I need you to kill everyone else. I really think that's what she had, because you can't bring all these Targaryen bastards, and yes, let's say two of them do get claimed. What are you going to do with the rest of them? Because
You
again,
can't send
some
them
of
back.
you can't send them back, but also you've now kind of acknowledged to these people that we know you are Targaryens.
Mm-hmm.
Any one of them could be a threat to Jace and to Joffrey. And I think
Foreshadowing.
and I think at this point, she's like she's doing what she has to do, but Jace's words are in her mind, and she was like, okay, all of this, everything that we have done has been for me to protect my children. There is no greater risk of that now than what's in this room.
Mm-hmm. And you about to give two of them dragons.
Right. So when she comes out and she looks at them, she basically did an Effie from Hunger Games. May the odds be ever in your favor.
I saw that meme.
And she leaves. All of them are still there. So
Yeah.
Vermithor kind of looks around, and what does she say? She says, which one of you will be first as far as like being brave? So this one Targaryen comes up, and everybody was like, y'all know he's not gonna pick him, because one, the dude's face was like he had some kind of ailment. He had a weak eye. His face looked like he had been damaged. Like um sometimes you hear of what happens to people if they're when they're born, if they get stuck in the birth canal, like it
Mm-hmm.
can deform their face. That's kind of sort of what he looked like something like that might have happened, or he may have been beat or whatever. But everybody was like, yeah, we know this dude is not claiming the dragon. And sure enough, Vermithor sets him and several others on fire. Some of the guards get caught on fire and everybody starts scrambling. Ulf gets knocked off, and Hugh takes off and he's trying to run around. Now, the guards are trying to get Rhaenyra to turn around, and she was like, nope, I got to stay and watch this. I need to see what happens. Because obviously, if you have a room full of Targaryen DNA, and Vermithor says no to any of them, she literally has nothing else to do. She's gonna be with,
Right.
she's gonna be without those two dragons. So through all of the chaos, you have Vermithor barbecuing people, he's eating people. You see Ulf kind of running off and running into, like, further into the cave, like he's trying to escape. Hugh is just trying to keep from getting eaten. And he comes across another Targaryen woman, and they're both hiding from Vermithor. And when they come out, Vermithor kind of knocks them around a little bit. Hugh gets up. Vermithor eats the woman. And at this point, Hugh was just kind of like, okay, I'm done. I'm not about to run anymore.
Wait, did he actually eat the woman? I thought he was about to eat the woman, and then he
Oh
was,
yes, no, he was about to. And
yeah.
Hugh gets his attention. He was like, I'm here. So the woman gets away. Hugh is standing there. Vermithor is like getting ready to go crazy. And Hugh was just like, come on, eat me, kill me, whatever you're about to do. And he stands there. He doesn't turn away. He doesn't close his eyes. Like, he is looking Vermithor in the eye. He's basically like, okay, if I'm about to die, I'm going to look you dead in your face while you kill me. And I guess Vermithor was like, oh, I like you. You're
Yeah.
fearless.
You do.
You'll do.
You do.
So now Hugh has Vermithor. And I was like, ooh, this gonna be an interesting team up.
Meanwhile, Ulf
Ulf,
is in full panic.
he's walking through the cave, and he sees like the opening. He gets ready to walk out, and he steps into a nest of dragon eggs. And I was like, didn't we just talk a few weeks ago about whether or not the 4 dragon eggs that Rhaenyra sent were the last dragon eggs on Dragonstone? So I don't know what happens to these eggs. These are probably some of the eggs that the Maesters ended up, destroying. Or
at
the
least one
Maesters.
of them, at least one of them ain't gonna make it.
But did he actually step in an egg, or did he
It
just
looked
step?
like that. It
I
looked
think
like he stepped.
I don't know. I think he stepped in because we saw when Daemon went to go get an egg, it has like this protective casing, and there's like all this goo that kind of keeps the eggs warm. I think he stepped in the goo. I don't think he actually cracked an egg, because I think if he cracked an egg,
Silverwing would
Silverwing
have a problem.
would have had a different reaction than she did.
Yeah.
He doesn't even notice Silverwing in the background, and it took me a minute to realize she was back there. But he turns around, and of course you have the reveal of her behind him. He turns around, sees her, they see each other. He falls down, and he just basically does this, like, okay, I'm dead. And nothing happens. And when
And
he
she's
opens
looking
up
at him
his
like,
eyes,
oh,
she's looking at him like, you're interesting.
oh, it felt like she was looking at him like, oh, you're cute. Look at the cute little man. I have a feeling that Silverwing. Okay, so Silverwing was Queen Alicent's dragon, right?
Alisane's dragon, yes.
Alicent's,
Mm-hmm.
and Vermithor was Jacaerys'
Mm-hmm.
dragon, and neither one of them, because I think Silverwing did the same thing Vermithor did. Like Silverwing, when she died, Silverwing just never came out anymore.
When Alicent came, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, like I bet they've never been able to get Silverwing to come out.
Yeah, because you don't hear them talk about
No,
her often. You hear a
no.
lot about Vermithor, but you don't hear about Silverwing. So yeah.
So they're just in there
Silverwing,
chilling. They're just in there chilling.
she was like, oh, you walked into my lair? You seem interesting. Let's go for a ride. Because once he realized she wasn't gonna kill him, he kind of gets this look like, oh shit, I am a Targaryen. And
All
then
his suspicions were confirmed.
right. And then the next thing we see, while Aemon is having his small council, you kind of hear commotion going on in the background. They're all looking like, what the fuck is going on? But Aemon isn't getting up.
Did you have the subtitles on?
Yes.
People were saying, Dragon!
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 So I was like, Aemon sat there for quite a while before he got up to see what was going on. Like, he probably was thinking, that can't be a dragon. Whose dragon would it be? No, they can't be. And then you hear the commotion getting louder and louder and louder. He finally gets up and he walks to the balcony to see Silverwing flying over the Red Keep, and Ulf is on there holding on for dear life.
Having the time of his life. I'm thinking he did that on purpose because he wanted to tell his friends, look
That's what
at
everybody's thinking. They're like, yeah,
me.
but I don't know if he would have that kind of control. Silverwing was probably just like, hey, I'm flying again after so long. Let me go. I think that was more of a Silverwing thing, just flying around. Silverwing probably has no idea of the conflict that's going on. She just wanted to stretch her wings. And of course, Aemon sees it. And while he's out on the balcony, Larys and old boy looking at each other like, did you tell him about the dragon? No, I didn't tell him about the dragon. Did you tell him about the dragon? No, I didn't tell him about the dragon. So neither one of us told him that there was a dragon with a rider, because they're probably in their mind thinking that this is Seasmoke.
Seasmoke, yeah.
Because that's the only news that they've heard, is that Seasmoke has a rider. It probably didn't even cross their mind that there were other dragons that Rhaenyra was trying to get riders for. So they just sit here looking at each other like, okay. Aemon, of course, takes off, gets on his horse. Now, I will say this. The fact that he ran out there and just did a one leap and jumped on that horse, that was one of the coolest things I've seen, because that is a hard thing to do.
Yeah. He's very agile.
Very. He rides to the forest.
The long sword on. That was crazy.
Yeah. He rides to the forest. He gets on Vhagar and he starts flying, because at this point he was like, oh, this bitch done got her another dragon. Let me go ahead and kill it. So he actually makes his way towards Dragonstone. And I don't know, everybody's been talking about Aemon and his one good eye and his good vision. He looks at Dragonstone. He tells Vhagar, no, Vhagar, flee, Vhagar, and turns Vhagar around. And the last scene we see is Rhaenyra coming up on Dragonstone. She sees Vhagar and she sees Vhagar fleeing. She's got Syrax here. She's got, I think it was Vermithor, and then Silverwing lands on the tower. I think Seasmoke was the only one that wasn't in the picture. But I was like, a Targaryen queen with 3 dragons. That's very nice imagery to end the episode on. But Aemon took one look at that. He was like, what we not gonna do is get our asses whooped today. We're not about to do that. But Aemon, now you have a problem. You have a serious problem.
Serious problem. Serious problem.
Like you said, that's 5 dragons for Team Black now. Because again, Daemon, at this point, Daemon has no choice but to keep working or actually redeclaring for Rhaenyra. Dude, you're not going to be able to claim the Iron Throne on your own. Not with the Riverlands people looking at you like, we only backing you because you're representing her.
They ain't even backing him. They're just
yeah. They're like, we're here for Rhaenyra. You
we're
just have to be here. So we'll deal with you because of who you are. But yeah, Daemon better not ever speak, oh yeah, I'm getting my claim. Those Riverlands will have, those River Lords will have his head. Period, point blank.
And then you got to deal with Beesbury's crew. Oh, it was funny. Did you notice that they were shooting scorpions at Silverwing?
I don't think they actually got a shot off. Did they?
I saw a couple. Up go past.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
they tried.
They tried, but And I think Silverwing was probably like, hold up, why y'all shooting at me? Let me go back home. She's like, look, what did I do? I just been chilling.
Can you talk about Larys again? He is literally trying to get Aegon in shape. He needs for him to get himself together.
I mean, Aegon is doing very well considering. Like he's
but the Maester is like, we're pushing him too far. He needs his rest. He's like, no. This motherfucker need to get it together now.
He needs to get some kind of strength, because if he's weak, if he can't do anything, oh yeah, Aemon could come in there and off him easily. And especially now, Aemon knows that there's other dragons. Oh yeah, no. He needs to be able to act with the full authority of that position, and he can't do that while Aegon is alive.
No. And Larys told the Maester, don't do this shit alone again.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's putting them both at risk by doing it alone.
Yep.
You need to tell the sentry
right.
make sure shit. You need to watch your back.
Yes, and tell that sentry, or rather, Larys said, "I'll tell the sentry to give you more warning next time."
Yeah.
Like, don't wait till somebody's right there on the hallway and be like, "Oh, somebody's coming." No, you need to have a network like, psst, psst, hey. Mm-hmm. You need to have your guard from down the hall, and then the guard further down the hall. Y'all need to be playing telephone.
Right.
Like, hey, Aemon is coming. Oh, Aemon is coming. Y'all get it together. Because you got to have time to get Aegon back in his bed.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I was like, Aegon is he's getting stronger. He still has a long ways to go. But Larys is like, look, chop, people. We got to get this done.
Got to get it done.
Because other than that,
I'm starting to think Larys, he doesn't. I was thinking that he was Littlefinger, that he was a chaos as a ladder. I'm thinking he's not. I don't think he wants to see everything burn.
I don't think so either. And I think he kind of, in a sense, reminds me of Tyrion. Because remember, Tyrion took an interest in Bran. And when Robb Stark was like, "Why are you being so nice to my brother?" He was like, "I have an affinity for bastards and broken things." And I kind of feel like Larys has the same type of he has the same type of mindset. Like, the people who are in power, the people who abuse that power, I think he doesn't care much for them. Aegon, before his accident, was someone that he probably could have manipulated, because Aegon was not very like Alicent said, that wasn't what he was born to do.
No, it wasn't.
You know, he wasn't born to it. He didn't take to it well. She was basically like, "We just need you to sit there and do nothing while we do all the work."
Do what you're
good at. Larys saw
nothing.
an advantage in that. He saw an opportunity. But now that the king is injured, he feels an affinity for him, because he knows, okay, yeah, they're about to cast you off. They're about to treat you like you're not important. And I've been through that my whole life. I'm not about, no. So I think, yeah, he has a very special interest in Aegon now, because if he can save Aegon's life, put Aegon back on the throne where he belongs, you will have the gratitude of that king, especially when people are, if he walks down the hall and people kind of turn their face because they don't want to look at him, or they don't want to see him struggling with his gait, his walk. Yeah, you're gonna raise up the one person who never turned his face from you, the one person who was like, "You are not going to sit in this bed and wither away. We're going to get you strong. We're going to get you back on the throne." That's the person that you want in your corner. And I think Larry sees that opportunity. He was like, yeah, but I think he also personally feels like this is where I need to be, because, yeah, why not raise up someone who is like me in that sense? But it's about to be a dangerous game, because when Aemon comes back, he's going to be like, excuse me, Master of Whispers, why the fuck you didn't tell me Rhaenyra had more dragons? This is information that Larry should know, right?
Mm-hmm. He should. But then Larry could be like, I mean, you ain't been listening to me anyway. Like,
that is true. That is true. He could.
What did he call him in the last episode?
A toad.
Toad. Mm-hmm. You can't insult the people who you're supposed to be helping, who's supposed to be helping you. Yep. You just can't.
Yep.
And that's part of him being 16 or 17. Mm-hmm. Like, he hasn't learned that yet. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. At least Aegon was like, "Why aren't y'all helping me?" Like, he was like asking for it.
Yeah. He was like, "I need to know these things if I'm to rule with authority." Like,
how can I make decisions if y'all don't give me the information?
Right.
Yeah. but he wasn't ever really insulting to anybody.
Mm-mm. Not in
Not
that sense.
not in that way.
Mm-mm. Because I really think so. I know we talked about Aegon and his personality and the type of person he was. And I really kind of think that before he was crowned, when he was doing all the stupid stuff and when he was doing the horrible stuff, I really think part of that was because he was hoping that he would never be king. You know, even
Mm-hmm.
when he was a teenager and Alicent came to his room, he was like, what was it? She said something to him about possibly being the heir. He was like, but father made Rhaenyra the heir. Let her have it. I don't want it. Like he's been saying this since he was a child. I don't want to be the king.
Yeah.
And I think
He's
some of the
been
stuff that he was doing was kind of because he never thought he was going to be king, but now that he is king, I won't say that he's matured, but I think he's smart enough to know, okay, I can't go around doing certain things anymore. And he was trying. But
yeah.
when you have people trying to sabotage you, and not necessarily sabotage you so that you will fail, but because they want to be the power behind the throne.
Mm-hmm.
Alicent and Otto, excuse me, Alicent and Otto, for all their quote unquote good intentions, because I do believe that they want peace in the realm. But the way that their characters were presented to us is like, oh, all they cared about was the power. They just wanted the power. They just wanted the power. It wasn't until after things got in motion, like when Aemon dismissed Otto, that you really heard him talk about his respect for Viserys, his respect for Viserys keeping peace, his desire to bring peace to the kingdoms. Like he was like, that's all I want to do. They just went about it in the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Like again, you should have molded Aegon a little bit differently and maybe thrown in a little bit of love and compassion, and you would have had this well balanced person.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, you got one person that's on one extreme, you got another person on another
Yeah.
extreme. You have no middle ground.
The one of the common themes or motifs in this show is those who probably should be ruling don't want to. You know, Viserys says it. I never wanted this. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even want it. Rhaenyra, I don't want to say she wants it, but she
She
wants it
feels a
to.
sense of
It's
obligation.
obligation.
Mm-hmm.
It's obligation for her. And Aegon never wanted it either. Aemon wants it,
Mm-hmm.
and we see what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Aemon
Damon
wants it,
wants it.
and you see what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think you're right from what you said earlier. I think he's realizing that maybe he doesn't want it. Like
Yeah.
maybe he's realizing that he's not the good person for that.
Mm-hmm. Like,
He's learning that.
this might not be all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, that and maybe I'm not the one for that
Mm-hmm.
because of the decisions that I've made and almost screwed everything up.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when people are sitting here being very vocal to your face about how much they don't like you. You can't be an unliked person and rule.
A rule.
It doesn't work out very well in the
Right.
end.
Jacaerys was loved. Viserys was loved.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, they love Rhaenyra.
Yeah. The realm's delight, right?
Comes alike.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about Miss Alicent, who decided that she's going camping because she don't want to face reality. Like you screwed things up.
So Michelle is not here.
Mm-hmm.
But when she was in her green dress with her red hair on that horse, Michelle goes, "Oh,
Merida.
Merida, Merida. Oh, we watching
Yeah.
live action Brave now. Look at
No,
this."
we're not. Because Alicent, there is nothing about Alicent that's brave.
But you know how I feel about camping. I mean, in what was the point?
I
The
think
whole show's momentum just died. The pacing just died.
Well, I think just like with Daemon, we need to get inside his head and see what's going on. I think that's what this was supposed to be for Alicent. Because you see now that twice Alicent has gone into the city, people don't like her. She's been attacked. And like she says at the beginning of the scene where we see her getting her arm, which, looks eerily familiar because it's the same type of scar and same arm where she cut Rhaenyra all those years ago. But as she's getting that tended to, she says, I devoted my whole life to my family and my realm, and it doesn't even matter. Like, they don't like us. And she's like, what have I done all this for? And then if you think about all of the other stuff that has happened since all of this has gone on, Viserys dies. She says that he wanted Aegon to be king. What has happened? Lucerys has died. Jacaerys has died. No, Jacaerys.
Harris. Yeah.
Jacaerys has died. They've been attacked. Aegon is, was near death at a certain point, but he's disfigured. He's like not going to be 100% ever again. Like, she's thinking about all of these things that's happened to her family. And then she's also got to have it in the back of her mind what Rhaenyra told her about the song of Ice and Fire.
Mm-hmm.
And you really have to feel like she's thinking, all of this is my fault. Everything that's going on now is my fault. And all I ever tried to do was serve my house, serve the realm, and no one appreciates me for it. So, like, what am I even doing here?
Mm-hmm.
My son has kicked me off the small council. I've been told that basically I'm unimportant. I'm not needed. Why am I even here?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's probably what her thought was. And so when she tells her Kingsguard that she wants to leave, and she was like, no, I don't want a full regiment. I just want you. I just want to go. And I really think at that point, she might have been trying to decide what her purpose was in life and where her place was. Like, she even says it when she gets ready to go into the tent to go to sleep. The soldier asked her, he was like, so when do you think you'll be going back to the Red Keep? And she was like, I don't know that I even plan to. Like, she's really thinking, okay, I'm just going to leave. And I can't really say I blame her in that sense because I can understand what she's thinking. But again, this is I feel like that's another demonstration of what type of person or what type of mother Alicent is. Because you have one son laid up, you have a daughter there who is different, and you're just going to abandon them too because the third child was like, I don't need you on my council. There are other responsibilities that you have. And regardless of whether or not the people like you or not, you still have a responsibility. But at one point, I really thought, I was like, okay, is Alicent gonna like kill herself? I didn't think that was gonna actually happen because, again, I do know a little bit about what happens to her in the books, at least up to a certain point. So I kind of figured she would be going back, but still, I think we just needed to see just how desolate her mindset is right now. And honestly, it didn't take a lot of time. It's not like 3, 4, 5 episodes of Alicent being despondent. So it was okay. You're looking like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
But I think it's important to see.
Even her Queen's Guard, even he was like, what the fuck are we doing?
Right.
He was looking like, so I'm going to bed. Okay.
So are we going back? When are we going back? I don't know that I'm going back. So, he has to think, wait a minute. So if you're not going back, that means I'm not going back. Got shit to do. I gotta go. Well, even though the King's Guard they're not supposed to be having relations and stuff, but
I'm gonna go back to what I said before. She should get her remaining grandchild and get Helena and be like, "Hey, we're gonna go take a trip to Old Town. We'll be back.
Yeah.
We just need to step away for a minute, just to get out of there. You take Helena somewhere where she can get some peace."
Mm-hmm. But as much as I feel like for her peace of mind that needs to happen, I don't think she can do that because I feel like because she and her father were behind most of the machinations that got Aegon on the throne in the first place.
All of the
Well,
machinations.
yeah, yeah. Well, Kristen Cole had a little bit of part in that too. But I feel like if she were to retreat to Old Town, the people in Old Town, even though they're loyal to the High Towers, they may look at her as being a coward. They may
Mm-hmm.
look at her as abandoning her post, abandoning her king. And I think the small folk would probably look at them that way as well. And it wouldn't and it wouldn't really have a good look on the current management of the king, of the castle, because they're like, okay, if his mama left Aemon while he's acting as prince consort, like prince regent, like it doesn't instill loyalty in the people. So I really don't think she can leave.
Mm.
Like you made your best, now you made your bed, now you have to lie in it. You got to take whatever consequences come, and
You
there's
reap
about
what
to
you
be some yeah.
reap what you sow.
Yep.
All the cliches. All cliches.
Right. Because it and then of course if your son Daemon is on the way to King's Landing and you take off, like what further does that say about you as a mother? So yeah, I think she's stuck. She's just really gonna have to put it in her mind that she is stuck. She has no other choice but to sit there and just let things play out. And she really finna start tripping once she finds out that Rhaenyra has more dragons.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. One new dragon. Oh, Seasmoke has a rider. Okay, well, he's still small enough that Vhagar can take him. Vermithor and Silverwing? Like, what? Yeah. Just go on ahead and just sit there and just
Because
stew in your consequences,
yeah,
boo.
because they knew they had riderless dragons, but again, they couldn't conceive of the idea that they would get lowborn people who have Targaryen blood.
Yeah. They probably
If no
didn't
one would
think
ever
about it.
think about that.
Mm-mm. They're like, oh yeah, Rhaenyra got dragons on Dragonstone, but what's she gonna do with them?
Can't do anything with them.
Right, because all the remaining legitimate Targaryens are there in King's Landing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, oh, she okay, whatever. And everybody knows that Daemon is MIA. So even the Greens are probably thinking, yeah, Daemon is probably trying to do his own thing because he's been gone for too long. The blacks know that Daemon has been gone, knows that Daemon has been incommunicado. So even those on her council who were doubting what she was doing, you know what? I will say this. I bet y'all not gonna twist your mouth sideways to Rhaenyra anymore. Cause she just showed
Flee,
y'all.
flee, Vhagar, flee.
I'm talking about the people on her in her small
On
council.
a small council. Yeah.
Y'all about to shut your mouth now because she just showed y'all that she can figure out some things too. And also, she got Mysaria over here whispering in her ear, and it's kind of like with Varys.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing that has come out of Mysaria's mouth so far has proved false. She is
Yeah.
giving Rhaenyra all the tea.
Yeah.
So
That was one of the big. I know we try not to talk about the last show, but that was one of the biggest mistakes Daenerys made was killing Varys. Like I knew he had some things in the fires going on over here, but he was still your best bet he didn't want to see the realm burn down either. And he was trying to avoid that as well.
Yeah, but I think Varys's mistake was Daenerys told him
He did.
once they had that come to Jesus meeting, and she found out what his original purpose was. She told him, if ever you think that I am doing something that is not true to my purpose or not true to this goal that we have set, you will come and tell me to my face and not do anything behind my back. And that's where he made the mistake, because he literally was trying to kill her. I was like, that was one of the stupidest things. But anyway, we're not gonna
talk about that.
But yeah, Mysaria is over here whispering in the queen's ear, and everything that she is telling her has proven true.
Mm-hmm.
And Jace can be jealous about it. The small council might not like it, but Mysaria in the last few days has helped Rhaenyra more than y'all have the entire time y'all been on her small council.
She gets results, and that's all that matters.
Right, because again, y'all sit here thinking about highborn. Mysaria is like, oh, let me show you what the people y'all ignore can do. And it's kind of like you think about it with all of these different little images, I think about it from A Bug's Life with Hopper and the ants. It was like, those ants outnumber us 100-1. And if they ever figure that out, our way of life is over. It's the same with the small folk. There's only so many royals in that city. There are thousands of small folk. If they ever decide that they want to riot because of what's going on, like the fact that they were all without food, they could have taken that castle down and everybody in it. So, like I said, small council, y'all gonna stop twisting your mouth at Rhaenyra, because Rhaenyra can soon see I might not need y'all. Because like what was it that she said to Sir Alfred? She was like, so you giving me all this advice about battles and what needs to be done. We lived in the same lifetime where there was nothing but peace. What the fuck can you tell me that I can't figure out? Like they literally, she probably has about as much battle experience as they do. So yeah. And then also, not only that, but she just showed y'all I can bring all of anybody who might say they are Targaryen, and I can get rid of them real quick. Because I sat here and I thought about this. I was like, why kill all of these people? And then I thought about Jason, what he said. I was like, okay, that makes sense. But if that was not her intent, she could have easily avoided all of that, because all you have to do is say, okay, so how is it that you're part Targaryen? She could have asked those questions. Like, who is your father? Who is your mother?
No, she did the right thing. As soon as she started walking out, as soon as she left, I said, oh, that's what we're going to do.
Right.
And then when it started, let's get you out of here, Queen. No, I'm good. She needs to make sure these motherfuckers didn't get out of here.
Yep. I mean, it's cruel, but
it is cruel,
also,
but it was necessary.
You're protecting your child.
Yeah, it was necessary. I don't even know if Mysaria knew that's what she was going to do.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But I don't think Mysaria,
I don't think she would understand, but I don't think she would have signed off on it.
Oh, no. But I think she also, like you said, she probably understands, because you can't bring people here and then send them back with the ability to talk about the experience. Because, I mean, if Aemon caught any of them, he could have been like, oh, okay, so let me collect you. Let me torture you. Let me find out what you know. What is she over there doing? How many dragons does she have now? Or, I mean, there's so much that he could have gotten from any of those people. And all he would have had to do was, even if he's lying, just promise them, oh, okay, well, you know what? I'll give you a full feast. You just need to tell me what Rhaenyra's got going on.
Because she wasn't shocked. She wasn't surprised.
Mm-mm.
She was just watching.
Yep. But also, I mean, you got to think she also understands Rhaenyra has two bastard children that she is proclaiming as pureborn.
Mm-hmm.
So if any of these bastards get it in their mind that,
Mm-hmm.
oh, yeah, that's
No,
like
we can't
you
have
said
that.
earlier, that's not that wouldn't be a good thing.
Yeah. Oh, and I thought of something earlier when you said how the small council can't say anything to us. Yeah, we saw that with the Dragon Keepers. Because she was like, yeah, we don't need them.
Because she walked out there, she called for Vermithor, and she basically she held her command.
Yeah.
She was
We
like,
don't need
"Sir, Vermithor."
Remember to settle down.
He did. He was sitting there like, "What you talking about?" Like, da da da. She gave him that look, like she didn't come in there like she was kind of apprehensive,
Mm-hmm.
which I think she also did the first time she saw him, because I don't know that Rhaenyra has ever been face to face with Vermithor. So that first time with Stefan Darkling, she could have had a little bit of fear. Vermithor could have felt that from all of them. This time she was like, nope, I have a purpose and I need to have it done, especially if she's going to do something that's going to put a divide between her and her child. She has to be absolutely sure of
Mm-hmm.
what she's doing. So you can't walk in there half-ass, like, ooh, I'm scared. What is he going to do? No, you have to go in there strong. You have to go in there fearless and knowing, okay, this is what I need and this is what you are going to do. But again, yeah, she had command of that whole scene. When she sat there and she touched Vermithor and she closed her eyes, it's almost like she was telling Vermithor what she needed him to do. And Vermithor
Mm-hmm.
was like, all right, bet. Let's do this. She was like, yeah, I need you to, I need you to have I need you to pick a rider. And then out of the ones that you don't pick, it's an all you can eat buffet. Just go ahead and take care of that. But I mean, she has her new dragon riders. She has Adam of Hull, she has Hugh Hammer, and she has Ulf. So this is where things really get interesting now.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I started thinking about it. So I know we've been having this conversation about how long this show is going to go, and we all kind of had a consensus that season 3 might be it. I think they may be able to do a season 4, because, like Michelle said when we discussed last week's episode, like they're moving along, but they're also not moving along fast enough. They're giving us a lot of time to kind of like absorb the events and just kind of like put the narrative out there as far as what everyone's mindset is and how they're going about figuring out what they're going to do. I think they could probably do a 4th season. I still don't think they can do 5, or they would do 5. I think that would be stretching it out too much. But we still have to have what, 2 battles at Harrenhal, if I'm not mistaken. And then you have all the stuff that happens in King's Landing afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think they could probably do a 4th season.
We'll see.
I know. Just as long as it's not a lot of camping and a lot of walking in the woods.
Right.
But
Mm.
yeah, I think they could do it. One of the things about this particular show, they get the pacing right.
Mm-hmm.
Even on the episodes where people, there have been people who have complained about the episodes that didn't have as much action, and had a lot of dialogue or a lot of exposition. Again, because of the way that this story was told in the books, it's a lot of speculation. It's a lot of word of mouth, especially because I know that at some point later on in the story, one of the rulers who sits on the throne basically tells everyone, I need you to erase this person's reign from the history books. So there's a lot of speculation, there's a lot of guessing. So what they're doing with the show is they're filling it in, and they're giving us the information that we need to know for what's to come. So they've gotten the pacing right.
Yeah.
If they can keep it going the same way they have, with just as much action, just as much exposition, then I think they could do it. I also think, like, at this point, now that we've gotten the stuff with the Riverlands taken care of, I really think Daemon is on his way out of Harrenhal, because there's no reason for you to stay now. You've done what you
Know
came
what you were
to
supposed to do. You need to go to Dragonstone. You
Yeah.
need to go back.
Yeah.
And find and see all these dragons that they got now.
Right. Or I was going to say, even if he doesn't go to Dragonstone, he does know that there are people marching on Harrenhal. So there is going to be a battle. Yeah. I really do feel that. So you probably still need to stay there to make sure that Harrenhal stays in possession of
Crispy Cole is on his way.
Crispy Cole is on his way.
And Sir Gawain the Green Knight is on his way.
Yep. And who else is on their way? Sir Alfred is still on his way.
He's still on his way.
Yep.
To see what is up, to see where Daemon stands.
He's going to be just so happens that when he gets there, Daemon will have the army that he needed.
And maybe he will finally send a raven, because what did she say? Their ravens have gone unanswered.
And when you think about it, it makes sense, because what is Daemon gonna do? Send a raven and say, well, I still don't have an army yet. They're gonna be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Still working on it.
You are Daemon fucking Targaryen. Why are you not making this happen? What is taking so long?
Still working on it.
Right. And that doesn't seem like Daemon to me. Daemon is not going to send out communications and be like, oh yeah, I know I'm supposed to be doing this thing, but so far I'm not successful. Daemon is not about to do anything that's going to make him look like he don't have his shit together.
Yeah, he's a man of action.
He is.
His actions show what he's about.
Right. So, and he's not gonna, like I said, he's been doing his thing half-assed because of what he's been dealing with. He's not about to let anybody else know this. He's probably gonna be like, oh yeah, I was just waiting for things. Like, I was waiting for Lord Grover to die so that all this could happen. That's probably gonna be his, oh yeah, I knew what I was doing. I was doing this, I was doing that. He's gonna make
until Lord Oscar talks to Rhaenyra. And he tells what's up.
Right. So no.
So we do know that Crispy Cole is probably going to be crispy, because you're watching on Harrenhal. You don't have a dragon.
I hope so.
You're walking towards dragon. And what did Daemon tell him? I'll be there when the time is right. Okay. So we're gonna get a whole nother season of Daemon and Harrenhal.
No.
That's what you're saying. We're gonna get a whole nother season of Daemon and Harrenhal. Yes.
Yeah, but maybe not in the way
not in the same way
think. And I'll tell you why once we get off here, because that might be a spoiler. But yeah, I don't. Maybe half of next season, or maybe the first couple of episodes will be. I don't know.
Next season is going to be all Harrenhal. He's going to be in Harrenhal because he's got 2 battles.
That's true.
He's got to do there.
Yeah. But I think part of his story, he's away from Harrenhal, so we may not get Harrenhal the entire season. But we do know that there are 2 battles that take place there. So maybe the top end of the season and the back end of the season, we'll see Harrenhal. Maybe in the middle, there might be some other stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. Now, I was going to leave off with this funny tidbit that I found out today, because I was like, this can't be true. And then I went and looked it up. So the Tullys of this generation, you have Oscar Tully, You have Grover Tully. And then apparently Oscar Tully's father was Elmo. And then there's also a Kermit Tully. The Tullys in this generation are named after the Muppets. I was like, that can't be right. And I
Wow.
went and looked it up.
And that's right.
There's a Kermit Tully, an Oscar
Kermit,
Tully,
Oscar.
Grover
Grover.
Tully, and Elmo Tully. I was like,
Wow.
are you serious?
That is hilarious.
That is fucking hilarious.
That is hilarious.
I I saw that this afternoon, like literally right before we start recording. I said that can't be true, and I went to look it up, and I was like, it's true.
And that's so against his normal naming convention. It is. Drop a letter here, change a letter there. He just straight up used their names.
Maybe he was like, just do something a little bit different. But yeah, I saw that. It was like, let me see. Paramount Tully was the Lord of Riverrun, Lord Paramount of the Trident, and the head of House Tully at the end of the Dance of the Dragons. Okay, so yeah. So he comes afterwards. So maybe he's Oscar Tully's son.
That's why I say we're gonna have to have a time jump.
Yeah. Let's see.
That might be your key to your season 4.
Could be. It could. Yeah, let's see. Elmo Tully's 2 sons in House of the Dragon are named Kermit and Oscar. According to George R.R. Martin's co-authors, the only reason for House Tully's Muppets names is that it amuses Martin.
That
So,
sounds like him. Yeah. Oscar, Grover, Kermit.
and Elmo. And Elmo out of all, yeah, that's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
So we see in the promo for the next episode, you got lots of dragons.
The
You have,
dances have begun.
yeah, you have Crispy Cole talking to someone saying, we are marching towards annihilation. So at least he knows that he might not be going home after this. But I don't know if that means that they've received word of the other dragons. And that might be why he says that, because when he left King's Landing, he was already like, look, we done gave it to the dragons. We're done. Either way it goes, we're dying.
So we're ash.
We are ash. There's
Ash.
nothing else to be done. Like, kind of like you said, I would probably have been like, okay, yeah, let me go ahead. Let me go into the woods and go, I need to go take a piss and then just take off. But again, Aemon knows that it takes 2 weeks to get to Harrenhal. And now he probably has some motivation to go to Harrenhal at this point. And at least
how are they gonna march through the Riverlands and not anyone notice?
Well, see, at that point, I think when Cole left, the Riverlands had not declared for Rhaenyra yet. So he's probably thinking, oh, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to organize. We can just march on through there. But now Rhaenyra has the Riverlands. She has the twins, the Greys. So all of this stuff was done while Crispy Cole has been on the march. So I feel like he's literally walking himself into a trap because he doesn't know. And Aemon is not about to tell him anything. Aemon is still like, yeah, I'm sending you to your death so you don't tell what I did to my brother.
Right. And I'll come when the time is right.
Which would probably be when it's too late. But when
my bad. I'm sorry, Crispy. I'm sorry, Crispy Cole. My bad. I'm late. My bad.
I mean, just like he was late to the last battle once he saw that Aegon was there. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna sit here for a minute. No, Vhagar, we're not gonna go anywhere just yet. I know these dragons are tired of these folks. Vhagar is like, look, I want to fight. Caraxes is like, get me off this fucking island. Like we need to go. So we'll see. Oh, and then in the promo, Aemon approaches Helena and says, I need you to get on Dreamfire and ride to war. Now, we've been talking all season about Helena is not about to get on Dreamfire. Do you think she's actually going to do it?
No,
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I
Because
don't
I
think so.
really don't think she wants any part of this, but she may also feel compelled to do what Aemon says. One, because I'm sure she's aware of how cruel Aemon can be and what Aemon will do to get his way. Like, she's not stupid. She knows that Aemon was the one that attacked Aegon.
Mm-hmm.
So she may do it because she feels compelled. And then also, she may do it just because Aemon is the one who asked, because Aemon has always been the one that's been kinder to her.
I don't think she's going to do it simply because she knows what he did to their brother, her husband.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that fact alone, like, do you want me on a dragon so you can kill me and my dragon? Like,
Yeah.
well, and the thing we also know about her is she probably already knows how all this is going to play out.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah.
So she knows she's never getting on her dragon, so she's not going to do it.
Okay.
I honestly, I do not think her mind is not there's something wrong with her. I don't think she has the right mindset.
Right.
What Eamon wants her to do,
Yeah.
she's not going to do it. She's not a warrior. She's not a fighter.
Yeah.
She's not going to do it. I would like to know when last time she rode Dreamfire. It's probably been a while.
Right. Because yeah, because like I said, we have not seen Dreamfire at all. Like, this is the first time that they've actually like really mentioned Dreamfire, except for when they were kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they were talking about the dragons when Aemon was having problems claiming his own dragon or hatching his own dragon.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. But like I said, she may do it just because it's Aemon. Because I don't know if I feel like she has any great love for Aegon. I think she married Aegon because that was what was expected of her and because he was the oldest. I'm sure if Aemon was the oldest, she probably would have been married off to him. But
Mm-hmm.
like I said, even when they were younger, Aemon has always been kinder towards her. He's always
Mm-hmm.
been the one, like when Aegon was the one who was talking bad about her, he was like, that's our sister, leave her alone. And then when Aegon was like, well, you marry her, Aemon was like, well, if it was my duty, I would do so happily because that's what would be expected of me. But you're the one that's first in line. So I don't know. It'll be
Um,
interesting if she does.
of the well, I'll look something up. So of the claimed dragons, this is not including Vermithor and Silverwing.
Mm-hmm.
Dreamfire is second in size to Vagar.
Okay.
So he's Dreamfire, she grew fast.
Mm. Yeah, because even though she's second largest, she's nowhere near Vagar size,
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
But she's bigger than Caraxes and Cyrax.
Okay. Yeah, because I think Cyrax is the smallest of them all.
Yeah, of the claimed ones, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if she does get on Dreamfire, that would, I feel like, kind of even the odds a little bit, but you still have the five smaller dragons on the blacks. And like you said, the smaller they are, the faster they are.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if Meleys could do the kind of damage that she did to Vagar, even though she was the largest dragon on the black side, if you have multiple dragons attacking one of the dragons, they could probably bring down Dreamfire fairly quickly, especially if Helena is not battle tested, if she is hesitant,
Mm-hmm.
because Helena just doesn't. She doesn't seem to me like she's a warrior. And like I said, she probably doesn't even want all of this conflict going on.
No,
So
no. But
I
yeah,
guess
so Dreamfire is about the same size as Vermithor, Sheep Stealer, and Silverwing.
okay. Okay. Now, if Rhaenyra gets Sheep Stealer, which obviously it looks like she's about to try to do,
They'll have 6.
yeah,
Hmm.
it's gonna be on and popping. So I think we hit all the points of this episode, if I'm not mistaken. Do you have any final thoughts going into the season finale? I'm so sick of these eight episode seasons. Like, y'all could have gave us 2 more episodes. Y'all really could have.
They could have, but at least 2 more.
I mean, they could have rounded it out. We had a 10 episode season last season. They could have kept the 10 episodes for this season. I just don't want them to do with Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones was 10 episodes for up to 6 seasons, and then they went to 9 episodes, and then they went to what, 7 and then 6 or something like that.
Something like that.
I don't want it to get to us, because at that point you will be rushing the pacing. Just
Yeah.
give us a 10 episode season next season.
But no, I don't have anything. I think we covered it. I'm just I really just need
Daemon to leave Harrow.
Daemon to leave Harrenhal. That's
Okay. I think we're in agreement on that. And Oscar Tully is the man.
he
So,
is.
on that note, that is it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media, on all the social media at Fandom Hybrid. You can chat with us on our Discord channel. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.